The systemic breakdown within this organization extends far beyond a single head coach. It directly implicates the entire assistant coaching staff and the front office that enables them. When repeated, visually documented sideline confrontations and physical boundary violations against a franchise cornerstone are allowed to happen in broad daylight, it exposes a toxic, unchecked coaching culture. This isn't an isolated behavioral issue. It is an institutional failure. Every single internal misstep, from toxic staff dynamics and rotation disasters to fundamental player development failures, stems directly from the top. The front office and ownership can no longer hide behind standard excuses. They built this environment, they hired the staff, and by refusing to intervene through months of documented dysfunction, they have entirely endorsed it. The staff on the sideline is merely a mirror of the front office's true philosophy, making leadership the ultimate source of accountability for this collapsing season.
She's done with Stephanie White. Look at this here. This is a player that is mentally done. Stephanie White, congratulations. You have mentally defeated Caitlin Clark. She's done. Welcome to Keep the Vision. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share the channel, hit that bell notification and hype the video. That'd be greatly appreciated. As always, this thing is over. I'm letting it be known once again. I'm rooting for Caitlin Clark 100%.
The bench footage of Clark with her head down isn't about playing armchair psychologist. Body language isn't exact science, and a single snapshot doesn't define an athlete's entire mental state. What that footage actually documents, with undeniable clarity, is a stark, jarring departure from the high-energy, fiercely competitive posture she has brought to the court all season. The contrast is night and day. Look at her bench energy when this organization actually had momentum versus her demeanor right here. It is a visible directional shift that proves something is fundamentally off. While only Clark can ultimately say what that means, the physical evidence of that shift is caught on camera, completely undeniable, and permanently etched into the record of the season.
This whole debacle with Stephanie White crashing out on her and benching her. Take a look at this interaction between Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston.
And
they're whispering things to each other. This is after the crash out. This is after all of that. You see it. Caitlin Clark's like, yo, we gotta get this idiot the hell out of here. We gotta get this idiot out of here. Aaliyah, I will not be signing my epic deal.
The shielded private bench conversation between Clark and Boston, occurring immediately after that Ross sideline incident, is visually documented, but its actual words remain entirely behind closed doors. Responsible media does not fabricate or guess at what athletes whisper to each other in high-stakes moments. What that footage does prove with total certainty is that the franchise's two most critical cornerstones felt compelled to create an immediate, private communication channel during a moment of severe competitive and interpersonal duress. That action alone is a massive behavioral signal that speaks volumes, even if the explicit content belongs strictly to them. What isn't private, however, and what is fully exposed for brutal analytical breakdown, is the tactical wreckage of this game's outcome. And that is exactly where a sharp, specific piece of reporting from Jason Whitlock completely reframes this entire rotation management disaster, demanding direct and immediate exposure.
Stephanie White rotated her players like they were playing 3 games in 4 nights. It was actually Portland playing its 3rd game in 4 nights. Stephanie White played 11 players in the first quarter. Wrong coach. Fire that bozo. Fire that bozo. There is no reason to play 11 different players in 1 quarter. This lady wants to be the smartest person in the room. That's the dangerous person to me. I never want to, I don't feel like I'm the smartest person in the room. I damn sure.
Jason Whitlock's reporting surfaces a critical, hidden dimension that standard box scores completely ignored, a massive, measurable fatigue differential that should have dictated the entire tactical approach. While the Portland Fire were dragging through their brutal 3rd game in 4 nights, a fresh Indiana roster held a massive physical advantage, a variable that professional sports medicine explicitly proves destroys second-half performance. In this exact environment, Stephanie White's decision to empty the bench and deploy 11 different players in the opening quarter is a catastrophic tactical inversion. When your opponent is running on empty, The mandate is to apply relentless pressure by locking in your most lethal lineup combinations, forcing exhausted legs to defend continuous offensive sets until they snap. Instead, throwing a chaotic carousel of 11 different players at them reduce their cognitive and physical burden, granting a tired opponent an unearned reprieve by preventing Indiana's own system from developing rhythm. Pulling Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston simultaneously wasn't just an isolated momentum killer. It was the ultimate expression of a fundamentally backwards rotation philosophy that active data tracking makes devastatingly concrete.
Right on why Aaliyah Boston and Caitlin Clark subbed at 6:30 mark of the first, after which Portland went on a 13-2 run. Caitlin Clark had 2 points, 3 assists, and a rebound in the first 2.5 minutes of this game and then was subbed out. They were up 8-4. The Portland Fire then went on a 13-2 run. Caitlin Clark got back in the game. It was 17-10. And the game turned into an absolute free fall from there. From the second Caitlin Clark got subbed out, this game turned.
The breakdown of the sequence is as devastating as it is documented. An early 8-2 fever lead fueled by Caitlin Clark racking up 2 points, 3 assists, and a rebound in just 2.5 minutes, forcing a shell-shocked Portland team into an immediate timeout. Then came the inexplicable, simultaneous removal of Clark and Aaliyah Boston, sparking a massive 13-2 Portland surge that left Indiana staring down a 17-10 deficit by the time Clark was finally subbed back in. This brutal 11-point negative swing was manufactured entirely by coaching rotation decisions, handing a massive lifeline to an exhausted opponent playing its third game in 4 nights. For Stephanie White to later dismiss this in her post-game press conference as a typical substitution pattern is tactically indefensible. While aggressive bench management is often masked under the guise of season-long load management, applying that cautious logic when the schedule has already severely fatigued your opponent completely destroys your own competitive edge. You do not manage your own players' loads when the schedule has already handed you a physical advantage. You tighten the screws, keep your foot on the gas, and apply maximum pressure.
In sports, which was the Caitlin Clark show. Clark show, baby! They ruined it. Indiana Fever were becoming America's team. Must-see television. No question about it. They have ruined it. It's over, guys. Take a look at this. These three have completely destroyed the most exciting basketball team we've ever seen. That's Amber Cox, Kelly Krauskopf, and Stephanie White. They have ruined this thing. It's over. It's over.
The institutional pattern documented throughout this season, from the explosive clipboard footage and aggressive physical sideline interactions involving both Stephanie White and Brianne January, to blatant reporting violations, contradictory press statements, and mathematically broken rotation choices, has reached a critical mass where each new disaster merely expands an existing record rather than establishing a fresh headline. This downward organizational trajectory is entirely unambiguous, deeply directional, and actively wrecking the team's competitive standing. Crucially, the assistant coaching staff can no longer escape the crosshairs of this accountability crisis. When a head coach's toxic sideline conduct toward a franchise cornerstone is repeatedly captured on camera, assistant coaches like January, who engage in physical grabs and confrontational behavior, are not operating in a vacuum. They are reflecting an enabled, rotten staff culture. Because this hostile environment has been permitted to fester without public correction, the blame shifts entirely to the front office and ownership. Executives like Lynn Dunn, Kelly Krauskopf, and the upper-tier ownership level are directly responsible because every single failure, from hiring disasters and rotation philosophies to player development collapse and reporting violations, flows directly from their boardroom decisions. A coaching staff is simply the raw expression of an organizational philosophy, meaning the ultimate blame for this entire documented season of dysfunction falls squarely on the leadership that built this regime and continues.
Caitlin Clark should be looking to move on. I think Caitlin Clark deserves better. Aaron Kane, do your damn job. Where the fuck are you at? Where are you? Where are you? Are you going to do something, or are you going to sit here and act like you don't see this crap that's going on? Do you not see what's going on right now? Look at what they have done to the biggest star in the sport. We watch every other team. We watch the Dallas Wings lean into Paige Beckers and prop her up. We watch all these other teams lean into their stars and
Caitlin Clark's high-powered agent Aaron Kane, now holds an ironclad leverage architecture backed by a fully documented mountain of institutional dysfunction. Clark's refusal to commit to an extension is directly tied to the organizational train wreck unfolding on the court, a high-stakes chess match that elite sports agencies are masterfully equipped to exploit. Looking across the league, the Dallas Wings' handling of Paige Buecher serves as a definitive organizational benchmark. Elite franchises build sustainable, winning cultures around generational superstars through talent-optimized system designs, trust-building communication, and public elevation. Indiana has done the exact opposite, with Thursday's clash against the Atlanta Dream looming as the ultimate tipping point. The outcome on the scoreboard matters far less than how ownership responds to this crisis. The evidence is complete, the record is damning, and the upper echelon has everything it needs to execute a total overhaul. The only remaining variable is whether they possess the courage to act.